Again, why it would change? Oh yeah, well, there was a Windows update today, so who knows? Okay. All right. Yeah, there we go. Okay. So, live from Columbus, OH. This is answering your financial questions with Coach Steve Money. I'm a Ramsey Solutions certified financial coach. And on the ticker below, you'll see my streams and all my plugs. No plugs in the hair, though. I'm not going to do that. I do need to get it cut badly, though. So we'll be doing that. It's a special birthday episode for me. Yep, getting up there. Getting older. You're watching this on youtube.com/coachstevemoney. For my financial content, just scroll past the Oak Island playlist, the Skinwalker Ranch playlist, and you'll see the Ramsey Show After Show playlist, and also the Answering Your Financial Questions playlist. That's this stream. And there's a music playlist that has 12 Ramsey adjacent songs in them. And listen to those if you're so inclined. It also has 2 songs from my favorite band, Thrill Cat. And let's get into some questions. Okay, suggestion 2003. 140K mortgage at 6.5% interest, 100K in cash. And the answer to this, as well as most of the questions, that's not supposed to be on there. I was supposed to click on money and then the 7 baby steps ahead of time. And look, right there, you have the list. Granted, if you're dumb, you will misinterpret these. And for example, for that last question, it says pay off your home early. It doesn't say save up $100,000 in cash instead. It does not say that there. So I'm going to call that a no, and I would say you apply that money to the house like you should have already, and then you'd already be paying less interest on it because there would be less principal. Why did you save $100,000 in cash? And this is what a lot of normal people do because they are nutty. They have a mortgage for 140K, but for some reason they think you're supposed to save up money too. You don't. Your savings on step 1, 2, and 1 and 2 is just $1,000. In step 3, once you're done with paying off debt, then you raise that to your full emergency fund of 3 to 6 months of expenses. You do, outside of specific things, saving for specific items, intentionality, like my favorite example, tires or vacation. If you put that in the budget, that's fine. You can do that on steps 4 through 6. You can take a vacation and you can save in advance for it. And so that would be some extra saving. You do not save $100,000 just in case you might need the money for something dumb. You do not do that. You should be doing intentionally all of the above if they apply to you. Step 4, retirement, definitely applies to you. So yes, 15% of your gross household income goes into retirement. You do not invest 1 penny extra beyond that. You do not have any extra savings beyond that. Again, unless it's for a specific thing and you're saving it in a sinking fund, like for tires or to pay for that vacation. But you do 4, 5, and 6 all at the same time with the extra money that you used to pay off debt with and that you used to put towards your full emergency fund. But now you have that money free to invest and address kid college if you have kids and if you want to help them, and to pay off that mortgage early. And instead of doing that, what the lovely poster here, the OP, the original poster here, what has done is instead of only having a 40,000 mortgage, probably less than that, because if during the time he was saving up this $100K in cash, during all that time, he would be paying less interest on it. And so it could be even less than 40K owed now. And so you would be doing that instead of the dumb crap you did. But he didn't say that. Not sure if it would make sense to put auto mortgage or invest the money. Rate is a tad high. Yeah, it is. It's 6.5%. So, now granted, in the market, you can, Mr. Ramsey's not saying you can't beat 6.5 in the market, but here's something we don't do on the Ramsey plan. We don't debt leverage to get, make a little bit of money off of the difference in interest. So, like the S&P 500 gets 10% a year. So that's 3.5% more. So, but the problem also is we don't just use the calculator in the Ramsey advice. You are on the Dave Ramsey subreddit, not the Financial Bro, not the Debt Leverage subreddit. I don't know that there's either of those, but somebody should make them. I won't go in there and troll, I promise. I seek out things I like instead of things I disagree with. I just talk about things I disagree with on my streams. What else? So yeah, so you did it wrong. You should have already had that money toward the house, and you'd already be saving some of that 6.5% because your principal would be lower. Doing it wrong. Stop doing it wrong. And so a lot of people think that they're like locked into the dumb crap they did before they started following Dave Ramsey. No, you can undo the dumbass crap you did, such as save up 100K in cash instead of putting it on the mortgage. Now, is saving up 100K cash instead of putting it to the mortgage, is that a better decision than say, oh, I don't know, going into a lot of debt, a lot of new debt? Sure, that's a better thing to do, but that's not the point here. Yeah, and the savings, and you did a lot of savings, so something tells me that probably within the same amount of time it took you to save the 100K, you could have probably paid off the entire mortgage if you had been equally intentional with all the rest of your money. So people are nutty. They will have the debt and the high savings too. That is so dumb. Every dollar question, I don't know, equivalent by year. What's the pet peeve? Oh, I did a preview of this too. Oh yeah, the water bill due on the 15th. And so the wife pays off, the wife gets the bill on the 5th, and there's not enough money in their pay bills account. And so the husband has to transfer money. I would say have her do it. Why do you have to be the guardian of the account that has all the money in it, that has all the extra money in it that you use to transfer? So I mean, and why not you do it? If you know what's going to happen every month, why don't you do that in advance? Out of the, I guess it's I think they said high yield savings account. I'm not going to read it to find out, but I think it's an high yield savings account maybe. And hey, what if you died or something? She should know how to have access to that high yield savings account. And that's another reason I don't recommend high yield savings account for emergency funds unless you have debit card or check writing access to that money. And also, guess who else should have that debit card and check writing access to it? Or if not that, the login and ability to transfer it should be your wife as well. Bet Careless 0013 car payoff. This may be a dumb question to some. I understand. I have an opportunity to pay off my car in full. An opportunity. Does that mean you saved up enough money instead of already paying it off? Could be. Let's see. Is 2024 owing $32,000? This is free up $600 a month for me, and I just bought a new home. And with a larger mortgage than my last home, any advice welcome? Maybe you shouldn't have done that either. Maybe you shouldn't have gotten a larger mortgage either. So, and if this opportunity is for you to take a HELOC on the new house just because you have more equity now or something like that. That's going to be a no. You're doing everything wrong here if that's the case. But yeah, you're in baby step 2, and there should be no house buying or house upgrading in baby step 2. You're doing it wrong. How dare you do it wrong on my birthday? Scared of rabbits. What's up, Doc? Baby step 3, is this normal? About 12 months ago, finished step 2 and step 3. Is it determined about? Oh, we've had home AC go out, transmission go out. Yeah, they had I think I did this whole thing instead of just previewing it, but they've been able to cash flow it. Oh, they're just mad. It says they've been able to cash flow it. I don't know if they mean cash flow it out of the emergency fund, and now they have to. They weren't very clear on that. And then now have to build the emergency fund back up. If they were able to cash flow it, they just weren't able to put that money, since they were cash flowing the emergencies, they could not add that money to step 3 to be done with step 3. And so you're going to be, this is the second best it could have worked out for you. First best, of course, is that no emergency happens and you finish the emergency fund. Second best is you are close to finishing the emergency fund, but you're able to cash flow it so you don't actually go backwards. You just aren't moving forward as fast as you thought you would be able to. And so, but just consider it. Just think about stuff like, oh, well, if I was on baby step 1 or 2, this would have been a disaster instead of the inconvenience it is now. And so that's what the emergency fund is, and that's why the advice is the way it is, because it makes your finances better so that you can deal with such emergencies without having to touch your emergency fund even. Haunting cut 5041 401k match versus extra car payment. Well, let's see, is there 401k talk at all in step 2? Nope, because these step 1, 2, and 3 are done one at a time. That means it should be a brick wall in between those. That means you have to finish step 1 before you move to step 2, and finish step 2 before you move to step 3, and finish all of them, steps 1, 2, and 3, before you move to step 4, investing. So there's no 401k. If you were, a lot of people are already investing in 401k when they start following the Ramsey advice. And so you just don't keep doing the dumbass crap you've already been doing your entire life. You don't keep doing that once you start following the baby steps and just say, okay, well, I'll do these around the dumb crap I'm already doing. No, you stop doing the dumb crap. So that's only on step 4, and you're here on step 2. I see 2 things that you need to do before you invest 1 more penny. And that would be pay off all of your debt, which includes that stupid car. You could be out of debt in that immediately by selling it, and buying a beater is an option. Nobody likes to think about that one, but it is an option. And then you have your full 36 months of expenses and a fully funded emergency fund, and only then would you be saving for a down payment in step 3B or investing. So, and if you're already investing, then what do you do if you're in step 2? You stop investing. It's just for a hashtag season. Doesn't necessarily mean 3 months. It could be. But it actually means it's just jargon for a short time. So you're doing it wrong. Let's hear some of the crap. Let's see. Why should I pay extra on a car loan at 6% and stop investing in a company match, which is an instant 100% return on investment the second I put the money in before all the gains will be more than the 6% as well? I'm having a hard time underrating this one. You mean understanding it. You're also having a tough time using the correct word. And so, yeah, again, I don't have an actual calculator. I only have the Windows one. Otherwise, I used to have one and I would show it occasionally. but if I did, I would pick it up right now and I'd say, all of the Ramsey advice, perhaps unlike financial bro advisors that you might listen to or subscribe to or whatever, all of the calculator does not determine every single thing in the Ramsey advice, because the problem is, if you look at your calculator, you can look at the one on your phone, you can look at Windows one, you can look at an actual one. You know what that doesn't have on there? That does not have a risk button. So the idea is to not have any debt so you have less risk instead of trying to out earn your dumb debt self. So don't do that. That is the advice. And you can do whatever dumb crap you want to. You are the one on the Dave Ramsey subreddit, and you don't have to understand it. If you don't want to do it, why do you think, oh, I have to understand it. I have to have it explained to me. 82 comments. Rare to have that many on something like this, on such a basic tenet of the Ramsey advice, without being shut down due to people being contentious in there. Talking some smack back and forth. Or saying things like, you're a dumbass. That's not the Ramsey advice. Have you seen where baby step 2 is and where baby step 4 is? 4 comes after 2, right? Even after 3, right? Yes. So you're doing it wrong. You can keep doing it wrong. But how did you end up in the Dave Ramsey subreddit? A lot of people do, because they get upset about their finances. They want to make them better, and the Ramsey advice is the way to do it, not the dumb crap that you think you should be doing. Think Natural 3171, recently married and trying to figure out strategy to tackle debt. Well, here's how you tackle debt. You pay it off. And how you pay debt off, my friends, is that you do not spend the money on anything else. How about that? And then that way you have it available to pay off all your debt on. You do not put it in the market. You pay off your dumbass car instead. But like I said, you could get rid of your car right now and sell it, and then you wouldn't have that debt anymore. You could buy a beater car. I am recently married. I'm 36-year-old. My husband is 46. He works as a teacher and has a small business I helped him start, and I am permanently disabled and unable to work. I stay at home and do all the cooking, cleaning, and helping my husband with the business. All right. See, this, this is great. This gives you some color. It gives you extra details into it, but these details don't change the advice at all. So let's see. When we met 2 years ago, I was living in public housing and did not pay rent. Received a disability check for $1,000 a month. I used most of this check towards my out-of-pocket health expenses, such as supplements my doctor prescribed me, gas, electricity, and food when I would run out of food stamps. Okay. Anything left over, I would invest in a brokerage account because I knew I needed to save and invest if I was living in poverty and needed to afford cars and medical expenses in the future. Yeah, but not if you have debt. See, if you went into debt, that's where you went wrong. If you stay out of debt, hey, guess what? Then you don't have to pay off debt before you start saving for a full emergency fund and before you start investing. See, so how about we do that instead of always going into debt for cars and other dumb crap like that? I've always been on my own with little help from my family. Okay, more power to you. Sounds like you haven't had the best, life, the best go of it. So, but what's your, this is where we say, what's your question for us? Like they often do on the Ramsey show. See, during the time we dating, about receiving a medical settlement that I thought would be for around 200K. I knew that 200K would be nowhere near enough to live comfortably. Yeah, because I can't. So we agreed that money would be reserved for me and my medical expenses. It is getting towards settlement time, and I am being told that my settlement could be anywhere from 500K to $2 million now. Okay. And the problem would be if you immediately start spending all that in your mind and figure out where you're going to put all that in your mind. I would wait to see how much it is, because guess what? If you have a lawyer working for you or anyone else, arguing this case or representing you in any way, they might be taking some fees out of that. So I'm going to chill on thinking what the amount would be. Let's see. My husband now began trying to get me to agree to buy a house. Everybody agrees. In cash with the money, and to agree to use the money to buy things like cars in cash for us, and anything that needs to be paid in cash. Yeah. Well, you would pay everything in cash. I mean, you can use a debit card, but it comes right out of your bank account. So that is how we pay for things. We don't pay for things with debt. And so if you're still using debt, you need to get out of debt first. That would be the first thing you do with the money. Any additional money that comes in goes to whatever baby step you're on. And you're not on buy a house baby step. You are on get out of debt step. Or even step 1, $1,000 emergency fund. And so granted, the settlement may take you from baby step 1 to step 7, who knows? Just depends on how much it is, I guess, and what size, like, kind of house or something you might be thinking about. And that is what I should be doing if I have such an aversion to debt. Well, he's right about the paying in cash thing, but he's not right about prioritizing house first. No. If you have debt, that would be what you pay out first. He told me that most couples have dual incomes, and if they don't, it's very hard to survive and afford things in a high cost of living area. So if I'm not willing to use some of the settlement when we have expenses, then he will have to take out things like car loans. Okay, so you see, I'm going to go ahead and say, what other problems do they have in their marriage? Because I bet this is not the only one. It sounds like they don't do a lot of discussion about money and stuff. Anyway, I was... Well, he has about 180K left on his mortgage, and his condo is worth about 370K. And you are living there with him now? So that would be our condo, right? He has about 5K in other credit card debt. I was told he has little savings because he has had to pay for housing, unlike me. And is not okay. I mean, hey, you talk to him about it. You don't need to get anybody's opinion on Reddit unless, as it sounds like you might be, at least slightly abused, financially abused maybe. Or it's just not somebody you should be married to. That could be it too. I understand his assumptions that I must have savings because I got help. Okay. All right. They don't usually. So this assumption, yeah, okay. He's dumb, but you might be dumb too. He's definitely dumb for things he's saying and assuming, etc., etc. I'm trying to realize that not only does my husband seemingly resent me for working hard to avoid debt and having savings, he seems to think it's impossible to have savings. Okay, well, you didn't know that when you married him? He kept all that surprise for you to find out now. I know that it's tough for people to do, but I'm starting to believe that the reason my husband does not have savings is not because of student loans or from working low wage before, but perhaps from poor decisions as well. Of course it is. We've all made dumb decisions like that, and that causes our finances to not look so great. Now looking at the settlement as a way to make his life easier and bail him out. Okay, so you are still married. You're saying your husband. Why does it sound like you guys have different lives? And isn't it to make his life? Isn't it our life? You would think it would be our life. And if it's not our life, then you guys need to communicate more and compromise on how to handle finances. And if you can't do either of those, then you need counseling. I would probably get counseling anyway, regardless, because something's going on here. He thinks that $1 million is a lot of money. It is. It's more than you have now. So he's right about that. See, you're being dumb too. Both of you need to quit being dumb. My husband said that I was told by my husband that I wouldn't get my stapler back. How can we help you today? Again, would be the thing, other than telling you to get into counseling. Attorney advised to get a post-nuptial. Maybe just don't be married anymore instead of having to do all that bull crap. Dumb. Both of you are dumb. What is it? I'm wondering others' take on the situation. Both of you are dumb. You're being dumb as crap. Both of you are. And so I get it, being disabled, etc., etc. He might have taken advantage of you, and at the time you might have seen him and his income and so forth as a way that he could save you, like he's thinking of you trying to save him now. Maybe. I don't know for sure that that's the case, but I could easily see some dumb crap because people are generally dumb and they do nutty stuff like this. I got a great idea. Figure out the person you're going to marry. Figure out their feelings on how to handle money, etc., etc. How about before you get married? How about doing that? But yeah, people are nutty. They don't talk to a lot of people don't talk to their spouse. And that's not a marriage. I don't know what it is that you guys have. That's not the way I think of a marriage. Need your opinion on tires. Right now I'm working on baby step 3. Have 3 months fully funded emergency fund. Need opinions. This year has been extremely rough for us financially, and there isn't much relief in sight. My husband has had a series of medical issues that have caused us to dip in our emergency fund. Tariffs have hit our business hard. This summer we have had both of our vehicles unexpectedly need expensive repairs. 6-year-old fridge broke. A 5-year-old dishwasher broke. This stuff can happen. This is why you have the full emergency fund and you don't have any debt. My husband also had to just have his second surgery of the year. So Murphy really has been knocking at our door. That will happen. My SUV needs tires to pass inspection next month. And guess what you can do? We drive the vehicle approximately 10K miles per year. And 10K is not that much. Let's just see what's going on here. 10K miles per year, and it has high mileage. Really? 10K is not that much, is it? We do have 2 teenagers that sometimes drive it. I live in an area that gets snow a couple times a year. Okay, so this is going to be wild. I know you guys aren't going to be able to handle this. You can buy used tires that have almost all the tread on it. If not, look like new tires. I've bought used tires before that look like they have every single bit of original tread on them still. You can buy those for cheaper. You can also buy them, I don't know, maybe even if you do buy new ones, you can buy them from the Walmart instead of the tire place, and you can probably save half on it. You also don't have to buy Goodyear brand tires either, or any other brand. You can keep the price low and still have safe tires. Charging budget tires. Yeah, just budget tires. Yeah. And tell you what, if you don't trust the budget tires to drive your babies, or for your babies to use that, your teenagers to use that anymore, then they don't get to drive it. That's just fine. You know, I mean, if you're not using it anyway, why not just sell it instead with the tires that are on it then? If you're not using it that much. I've been trying to save up for tires over the past several months, but haven't really made any progress. Well, that's because you're only trying. You need to do or do not. So that means you need to cut out something you have been spending the money on that isn't 100% a necessity. Because I keep getting it with unexpected expense after unexpected expense. Right. Well, I'm actually taking a part-time job to try is try to, and again, do or do not. There is no try. So my question is, do you think budget tires are a good way to save money or not worth the compromise? Yes, they are. Yes, they are. You will live buying budget tires. I have lived buying budget tires or used tires as well, for 15 years ago, I think I started doing that. So yeah, but definitely you can do the economy tires instead of buying the top of the line thing. And guess what? They also don't have to match. Who gives a crap if they're the same kind? Okay? And it's not a law. I know they like you to do this, but it's not a law that you replace all 4 tires at the same time. If they don't wear evenly, guess what? When you put on 4 new tires, they're not going to wear evenly either. So this is a dumb way to try to make you spend more money, always. And they're always looking for you to do that. That is how they get you, is what I taught my son about how people try to get extra money out of you that you don't need to pay. Funny spending habits roast. Saw this posting the other day. Caleb Hammer about a website called walletroastgpt.com. Okay, whatever. It's a roast, little jokey thing there. I don't care that much about it. Leaders successful 2343 is the number. I can read numbers. Mortgage payments. When making mortgage payments, how much do you know how to put towards what? What? Our mortgage is $625.02. I normally go to the bank and give them $700 and ask them to put the full $700 towards the mortgage. You mean towards the principal? It's going to go to the mortgage regardless. But you want it to go to the principal instead of paying ahead interest. You want it to lower the principal. But you cannot put it all towards the principal, because they will have to at least take out what the month is what the interest is for the month. And that's generally how that works. So, but that it should be included in the $625.02. So anything you put in addition to that, which looks like it's just 2 cents shy of $75. So $74.98 would go to principal, is how that's called. And how would you break down what being put towards principal and escrow? You don't have to put extra money to escrow. They should have already figured out the amount to put into escrow so that you can pay your taxes and insurance, if that's what your escrow is paying. Usually it's both of those. Sometimes it can be one or the other as well, I've heard. But the mortgages I've seen it's always been the escrow paid both the insurance and the taxes. Where are we at? So yeah, you would put anything extra, and that would be the baby step 6 right here. And so guess what? If you are not on steps 4, 5, and 6, if you're in step 2, you would not be paying extra on the house, even $5 a month. You would not be doing that. You do the baby steps right, and you don't pay extra on the house. Get people like that too. Everybody, so some people, even if they're not doing it before, some people look at this list and think you're supposed to, realistically, somehow they put it in their mind logically that you're supposed to do all these steps at the same time. Or they look at it as if, oh, well, I'm already paying extra on the house, so I must be on step 6. No, if you have non-mortgage debt, you're on step 2. You're on the lowest one that applies to you. Baba, sorry. Point of budget. What? What is the point? Oh, what is the point of budget? Prudent ad 9629. This is not an ad. When it has the word ad in it right there, that means it was something suggested by Reddit for them, so they don't have to make up their own username. What is the point of a budget? That keeps you from spending money on dumb crap. It keeps you intentional with every single dollar of income that you make. Let's see. What's the point of income if you have so much income that you can't possibly spend it? That is even more, and my argument on that is Mr. Ramsey says, for example, that you need to be doing a budget the rest of your life. He still does a budget. See, the problem is if you make so much money that you think you don't need to worry about where it's going, you will have more just slipping away because you're not paying attention, and that is dumb as crap. You still need to be intentional with all of your tons and tons of income. And why wouldn't you be? Why wouldn't you want to be a good custodian of that money and be intentional with it? And for example, just not have X amount in the checking account, and so that you do, X, Y, and Z with the money that are fun things, and then of course then you can't do some of the things that are on the baby steps. I would just sit down. You don't have to sit down when you're doing a budget. You can stand up while you're doing a budget. I hate it when people say sit down and we have to sit down and talk. No, you could stand up and talk too. It's just one of those little sayings that irk me. Let's see. I would just sit down and make each bucket so large that you can't reach it. It all seems like a waste of time, and I'm at the point in my life where I don't want to be limited. If I see a $2,000 bottle of wine that I want, I'm just going to get it. Knock yourself out. You can do whatever dumb crap you want to. Again, I don't know why people want to be so argumentative. If you see any financial advisor's advice and you think you know better, and you're not going to follow their advice, then you don't have to understand or try to wrap your head around how they're not as smart as you are and why they don't think the same way you do. There's a reason, though, because he is smarter than you. You're a dumbass. And I would never spend a $2,000 bottle of wine no matter how much money I had. That seems like you're an idiot. You're an idiot. Anyway, but you can do whatever you want with all of your riches. Knock yourself out. Enjoy yourself. I fully support you being dumb and not following the Ramsey advice. Absolutely. You have to live the life. You are the one that lives the life, and you are the one that makes the income, theoretically. And so, knock yourself out. Do that. Speaking of locked posts, there's one. Paper millionaire, but can't afford a car. Yep. Of course. You guys know the deal. 77K in retirement assets, which that doesn't help you for spending money now before you retire. So the problem with including that in your net worth is that grays the picture there. So, and that's probably most of your that's most of your millionaire. That's most of your millions. Now, if you have debt, and maybe your house is much less as well, and maybe you bought too much house, and you want to buy too much car, probably. 246K real estate equity, not counting my primary residence. You shouldn't be having mortgages on residential property, or rental property. I'm about to have a 4th baby and want to get a new Toyota Sienna. Doesn't need it. Don't need it for a baby. My baby was in old cars, both of my babies. And guess what? They're both over 21 now, and they lived. get a new Toyota Sienna and drive it for 14 years or so. See, the 14 years or so, that's justification station for being able to buy a new car. Again, this person can do whatever dumb crap they want to do, like buy a new car. That is not going to be the advice. Let's see, want a hybrid van? This is the only reliable option. No, it's not. Used hybrid Siennas 2022 plus hold their value so well as to not be worth it versus new. For example, okay, whatever. Anyway, what is it? I can pull some principal penalty free from my Roth IRA. How? Oh, oh, you mean contribution? Yeah, that's not advised either. But yeah, see, the problem is if you cannot pay cash without taking something out of retirement, the advice is no car. I don't care if you're a paper millionaire. So you have to have the cash on hand to be able to buy the car. No taking from. You know what you can do? You can sell your freaking rental property if you need a new Toyota Sienna. If you need it, why don't you need to sell your rental property then? And then you can afford it. Hey, man, you got 246 real estate equity, not counting primary residence. So, yeah, sell real estate property then. And they never think about that because they are always trying to do scheming and scamming like this. And this is how you get in situations where you don't have money to buy a cash car, even though you are a millionaire. Technically, if your net worth is $1 million, and that's kind of what paper millionaire are. And I don't know what people think $1 million is otherwise. It's not making $1 million a year. That's not what a millionaire is. Anyway, more justification station on getting their fun little vehicle that they want. Stop putting in my money in 401k at work to save up to. No, not for a new car, because that's good. That's a luxury. If you actually need a vehicle, it does not have to be a new car. So that's going to be a no too. So it sounds like to me you need to do whatever dumb crap you want to do, because you don't care about the Ramsey advice at all. You just justifying it because of the new baby. But people have done that. You ain't gonna believe this. I know it's your fourth baby. But you ain't gonna believe this. Some people actually do use the fact that they had a baby to get a new car. They do. I can post it, but where are we at? To save up, but I have been a diligent saver since I was 16. You've also done debt leverage according to the... since you're a paper millionaire, but you don't have the savings. You haven't been a diligent saver. You went heavy on the retirement accounts, and that's great. But that's for retirement. That's not for buying a brand new car right now. Or SUV. And feel like it's an appropriate time to spend on to spend for once. Okay, so why ask then? What say ye? I say no because of the dumb reasons that I'm 43. I only have 36K in emergency funds, and that it's not an emergency to buy a new car either. You can buy a used car. Your babies will be fine in a used vehicle. It doesn't even have to be a Toyota. Imagine that. Okay, COD 3427. $500,000 a year income lifestyle. Can some people making $500K a year? I don't make that much, so I can't say that. Year plus explain your lifestyle. How much does your house cost? So again, this doesn't matter because guess what? You don't make $500K almost assuredly, or you would already know. So why do you need to know? Something to aspire to, or what? How long old are you? Okay. What cars do you drive, etc. What do you spend most for leisure, and how much? What do you save? 687 comments. Okay, people liked it. All right, fair enough. I think it's a dumb question. You don't need to compare yourself. How about if you just get your dumb ass on the baby steps and follow a proven plan for making your finances better? How about you do that instead of worrying about money and a spending amount that you don't have probably, and a lifestyle that you don't need either, even though you might want it. People are being nutty today, man. Far extent 4632 general advice. I work as an accountant full time. I have a fully funded emergency fund. Excellent. I have no debt. Excellent. I'm doing baby step 4. But I also do some accountancy work on the side, and the money I get from this, I put straight into my retirement fund. Is this a good idea, or am I just being stupid? Saving for retirement is not, but you don't want to overdo it. Meaning you don't want to have $770,000 in retirement and then you can't buy a car if you want to without having to take it out of your Roth IRA. So that's when you would not want to do that. Also, if you have a mortgage, which the other person did as well, and if he had a mortgage or he owns a primary residence, but don't know if he has a mortgage on that. If he does, he's even dumber. If he has mortgages on the primary residence and on the rental property or properties, don't know if there's multiple. But yeah, why wouldn't you think, I want to make this big purchase? Should I take it out of my Roth IRA, or should I sell my dumbass rental that has a mortgage on? Which is not the Ramsey advice. No debt leverage. You build business, including rental properties, at the speed of cash on the Ramsey plan. So, but you should be doing 15%, and also you do 4, 5, and 6 all at the same time. So if you have kids, and if you want to help them with college, you would be addressing that. The younger they are, the smaller the amount of money you have to put in there each month. And you would be paying off the house early instead of investing more than the 15%. So that's all you would be doing. So you don't invest it, you would be applying it to whatever baby step you're on. And if it is indeed steps 4, 5, and 6, which it sounds like it is, steps 4, 5, and 6, if 5 applies to you, then put a little in there and put some towards the mortgage instead of investing more. Should only be investing the 15% and should be investing at least the 15% every single paycheck. One income, objective ad, 7560. Again, not an ad. If it has AD in there, that means it was a Reddit suggested username. One income. I'm getting ready to leave my job, hoping that my husband can financially support us while I go back to school. I would discuss it, and I would sit down like people like to do while they discuss something or do a budget or something. But you could also stand at the counter and do it too. You could do that. You don't have to sit down, but anyway, you can sit down if you want. Up to you. Can financially support us while I go back to school. And of course, people love to run back to school as if that's the answer to everything. Just like when you originally went, maybe you didn't graduate college and you have student loans, and maybe you're trying to use student loans again, and that would be a no on this advice. You would not do that. And also, is what you're going to school for to get the degree in, is that going to be worth the squeeze as far as the income? For example, you don't want to go to a private college to get a social worker degree because they make like $30,000 a year. Do not do that. And even if the job you should be able to get should be enough to pay off a lot of student loans, they're still not advised. No student loans is the advice. The thing is that we're going to be cutting it very, very close. So how about you don't do that then? Why is that the answer to whatever the problem is here? He has almost 1K a month in debt. Well, I have none. Okay, so how we do it when we're married is we don't do it the dumbass way that you're doing it. We combine lives and incomes and everything else that goes in finances. So that's the Ramsey advice. So all the money to be together. So when you got married, you married his debt as well. And if you don't like debt, you didn't have to marry him if it was a deal breaker. All debt is in his name. It doesn't matter. You still help pay it off. His car is $500 a month with a 14% interest rate. Yeah, he didn't need to buy that either. He could have bought a beater instead. He probably bought a new car and financed it. Dumb. Didn't have to do that. He bought it before we got married, and his credit score is crappy. He struggles with finances. Yeah, I would bet so. But so do you, apparently. Why do you need to go back to school? Anyway, this car has been the source of contention for a while. Selling the car could give us more security. How do I make him see that? Also, you not going back to school could also give you more security because you could be working instead. See, people, you got to be able to look at things at both sides. You got to be able to look at it from the other person's perspective. How can you be made to see that? Edit to add, I am the only one that did the babies. He refused to take any action. He watched as I sold my things, made daily sacrifice while he racked up debt. Hey man, my name is Paul, and that's between y'all. You should have had a talk with him, and it sounds like there's some resentment going on here. So if you guys want to stay married, I suggest you communicate and compromise about what you're going to do about your stupid life together the way you set it up. That is so dumb. And the time to have these conversations would be, guess when? Not now, after you've been married for X amount of time, but before you get married would be the time to talk about this. I helped him pay off his debt, and he went behind my back and racked it up again. I also told him not to get the car. Alrighty, well, he's not listening to you. He's not gonna do that. So, I mean, if you want to stay with him, you've got to talk to him and work it out. And probably counseling is going to be needed to work it out. So, I mean, that's up to you because you're doing everything. See, the problem is, hey, guess what? The problem is, you married him. Okay, we don't know when the baby steps happened, if they happened before you married him. If you did the baby steps before you got married, and then you should have realized that he was not going to do them after he married you, and he certainly wasn't going to do them before he married you, then maybe you don't marry him if that's a problem for you. People are nutty, man. They don't talk. Don't talk to each other as nearly as much as you would think people just automatically would. I don't know. And just staying together and be resentful of each other forever, that is so dumb. You need to just the entire advice is mine anyway is to quit being dumb about it. I mean, that's not even baby steps. That's just human relations. Just a married couple that can't agree on stuff, that can't work it out. Why did you get married? That was dumb as crap for both of you. Acceptable light 557. At what point does it make sense to buy a new car instead of a used car? Never, as far as I'm concerned. Why? I don't give a crap about cars, and so that's my problem. I am different than probably most males that care at least a little bit about how the car looks or what brand it is, etc., etc. Um, but in order to buy a new car, guess what? You have to not only pay cash for it, you have to be a millionaire. That's the only way you can handle the immediate plunge in depreciation that it happens as soon as you drive it off the lot. So let's see, I'm looking to buy a car before the end of the month, and I've been browsing the market for a couple weeks now. Here's what I've been able to conclude. Buying a used beater going to cost anywhere from 7K to 10K. Yeah, see, and when people do this kind of shopping, they just assume that anything below 7K is not going to be a good car. It could still be a fine car. Mine has been fine since I bought it, I think coming up on 6 years ago now. Needed a new muffler immediately. That was $250. And bringing the total car price to $2,000. Yes, $2,000. And also needed new brake lines along the way, probably about 3 years ago, something like that. Need new brake lines, and that I think was $800. I can't remember. So guess what? Is that better than buying a new car or spending more money on a car? No, I don't think so. So anyway, about the minimum price, yeah, being 7K being about the minimum price for a car that can actually drive, more like the average person, and this person could be telling the truth, but the average person would probably be saying, but about the minimum price that I'm willing to consider, because otherwise it's a piece of junk. 16 plus years old, 170K plus, say K, sell 175K plus miles minimum. No, my $2,000 car had 80 on it. It's 2005 Suzuki Verona. Had 80,000 miles on it. And so 2005, so that would be 20 years old this year. And so if I bought it 6 years ago, it was 14 years old. 80,000 miles over 14 years. Can maybe last the next 3 years. Buying a nicer used car going to cost 13 to 19K. 3 to 10 years old, 75K to 120 miles. Again, this could be the actual averages. Give the lad the benefit of the doubt, saying that these are right numbers, but it would not be the first time people exaggerated the numbers to justify what their purchase is. New car 2025 going to cost 25K minimum, comes with about 3 years, 60,000 mile warranty. Doesn't mean you're not going to have problems with it though. Slight differences between makes and model. 0 mile. At what point does spending the extra 6K become worth it? Well, you're justifying it based on all your numbers, and I'm sorry, I'm just not going to, if I give you the benefit of the doubt, I see your point. And so, I understand it. And if you have the extra 6K and you're paying cash, you can do it. But also, you cannot afford the depreciation if you are not a millionaire. Sorry, and that's one of the hard and fast Ramsey rules. And if you don't want to follow that, that's fine. You can make up your own mind. But you, sir, came to the Dave Ramsey subreddit, reddit.com/r/Dave Ramsey. It's not the /financial bro advice or not the car guy advice. So you can do what you want to do, but the Ramsey advice is no new cars unless you buy in cash. And you didn't even mention the cash part. So there's definitely no financing it. And I don't want to Is there more? Yeah, there's some more, but again, I don't care about cars that much. Uh, to buy a nice car or save up for a house, here we go again, 25 man. Assuming you're not a millionaire, so guess what? You're not buying a new car. And then see, nice is subjective, and nice is one of the words. Again, you're using justification station language to justify you buying a new car, or at least a newer. I'm constantly conflicted on if I should splurge on a used car that is around 70K to 100K. That's a no. That's a no. You do not need to spend 70K to be able to get from point A to point B. Again, 6 years ago, I spent $2,000 to get to from point A to point B. You do not need to spend 70K for that. That's ridiculous. You're a dumb ass. And it doesn't matter if you even have that money. Or a E63S or GT63. You're a dumbass car person. And that's fine. Knock yourself out. Or just keep investing and saving up. You would be following the baby steps. You don't just in general invest and in general save. Logically and financially, I know not buying the car would be the best course of action. And so there we are. So don't, again, gonna just try to justify it. Here we go. Let's go ahead and justify it, shall we? I know not buying a car would be the best course of action for the future. Yeah, that is right. And so that should be the end of it. But no, it has to be but having a nice car when you're I'm still young seems really fun to me. I don't give a crap if you have fun or not. Knock yourself out. And you live in a high cost of living area too, so you can't buy a $100,000 car and buy a house too, you dumbass 25-year-old. And I was a dumbass 25-year-old as well, but I didn't try to do dumb crap like you're trying to do. I just went into a bit of debt. That's all. I didn't try to buy new cars or even very expensive used cars and buy a really, really expensive house and live in a high cost of living area if I didn't make high cost of living money, which I did not. So quit being a dumbass. Does anybody, do they know the advice? Do they ever watch the show? Or do they just, see one clip and then they come here and then they try to justify all their stuff after? Generally, they probably also know that the advice, and this person even said, I know not buying the car would be the best course of action. There you go. So then what the heck are you doing even thinking about it then, you dumbass? Stop it. Stop it. Just quit being a dumbass, or go ahead and be a dumbass and buy it and don't ask. On the Dave Ramsey subreddit, what do you expect? You're going to get 44 comments here. And again, wouldn't be surprised if half of them said go ahead and get the car, because there's dumbasses in the comments too. And so you're a dumbass and you want to get advice from other dumbasses. How about you follow the Ramsey advice? And he's not on this forum. It's just a forum about his advice and what things that are not his advice, mostly apparently. Honey Hollick, saving 60% of household income, what to do with a scarcity mindset. Well, you shouldn't be doing that. I mean, I guess you could if you own that. If you don't have a mortgage, I guess you could be doing that. Investing 15%, saving 60%, and so that's 75%, and so 25%, so you don't have a mortgage, and that's enough. Let's see. Hi everyone from Canada, and feeling blessed. My spouse and I make a household income of $250K. That's not a lot in Canada. Our employers match our SP contributions, and we both get nice bonuses. Is it 15% of your gross income? And is that a pension? If that is a pension, it's not worth as much towards the 15%. It would only be worth half the amount of whatever percentage of your gross income it is. I'm in my late 30s and my spouse is in the mid 40s. We've maxed out our TFSA, our RSP, and our individual investment accounts. We have 2 young kids for whom we're saving in terms of college education, and we already have the next 2 years of the government matching portion nicely stored away. No mortgage nor debt, as we decided to pay everything off with Gazelle Intensity. Fabulous. Before we had kids. Great. We both grew up on lower class household in lower class households and faced food insecurity, and we can't seem to come out of the scarcity mindset. Yeah, you should probably should have a little bit of fun, have some fun money, because you did everything right apparently, except the having fun part and not being as gazelle intense now. I mean, you should be using your kids as excuses to do some fun stuff. And that's fine in your financial situation. All these other dumbasses trying to use their kids to buy a new car and crap like that, stuff that kids don't need, they are in worse financial shape than you are in. So even after paying for kids' extracurriculars, we're still putting at least 60% of our income into our retirement. Yeah, I mean, you can do that in step 7. That's fine, but I hope you are having some fun. A little bit. I mean, go out to eat once a week. My goodness. We cook at home mostly, and only have one car, in which the latter really works for us. Okay. Since we enjoy taking the kids to their childcare together and our workplace are just 10 minutes away from each other. Oh, that's fun. With all that said, though, I'm proud of our savings together. I feel like, for me, we maybe aren't enjoying the fruits of our labor together enough. That's right, you're not. You have assessed the issue correctly. Anyone here have any sight in on this heart problem, since we have a scarcity mindset? Yeah, you just have to embrace the fact that you have done it correctly, and it was probably because of the scarcity mindset. But now that you are in a position, you need to accept the reality that you going on a vacation or you eating out multiple times a week even is not going to mean you can't retire or you can't have anything else that you want. Seems like you can do just about anything you want almost, within reason, of course. How else would you allocate the amount we are saving? Well, again, you are allowed to save whatever cash you want to. You're allowed to invest whatever you want to in baby step 7. Baby step 7 says build wealth and give. And so you should be giving some of it away to your church or worthy cause. Anything that you think would be a worthy cause, you can do that. But that's the idea, that you are making a lot of money, and one way to make it is, of course, to just not spend it, and then you're saving it. We're basically scrolling money away right now with no vision other than helping our kids through college expenses and not being a financial burden to them when we retire. Yeah, I don't see any problem with that. But I would check the pension amount. RRSP, I believe the P stands for pension, and so you need to check that out. If that is a pension, then it probably doesn't make anywhere near what the market makes, and so you have to be investing separately into it, which I think you said you already are. The TFSA would be that. But yeah, so you need to be intentional with that money, just like you were when you were Gazelle Intense, when you were intentionally sending it all to debt. So you need to do the same thing, but for fun thing. And so that can be a hard switch to flip on once you get past baby step 3. It can be very, very hard to get out of that scarcity mindset. And of course, the Gazelle Intense. I mean, and you can still be gazelle intense. You don't have to be that gazelle intense, though. You can be maybe a little older gazelle, might be running a little bit slower, that kind of thing. And also, the gazelle is allowed to go out to eat several times. Or, if the kids have not been to whatever you guys have in Canada for Disneyland, Mickey Mouse. Is that what it is? Mickey Mouse, maybe? Up there, whatever you guys have there, like a Disney World, or come to the States. Hey, spend some money here. We'd love it. And if you see, maybe not in Florida, but if you stop by the Midwest, you won't believe how much cheaper things are here than they are in your neck of the woods in the Great White North up there. So I think you're over worrying about it. But I mean, you can do the projection forward, to look at all kinds of math and look at the worst case scenario. I mean, you still have your house paid off. You have, presumably insurance on it still. So that would replace it probably. Should have the kind that replaces it if it gets, blown out by a tornado or something like that. I don't know if Tornado Alley extends up into the Great White North or not. How often that happens up there. I don't know. Maybe they're immune because of all the cold. I don't know. I don't know how it works. But yeah, you guys should start having fun. And so, I mean, this is not the problem most of the time. You guys are the opposite of the problem most of the time happens. It's that kids, younger people, dumbasses, want to spend all the money and have all the fun and not do anything that's the right thing to do. You did the right thing, and so now you get to do that. You get to do that. That's why when you're on step 4, that's when you can start taking expensive vacations and such. You don't want to blow out the bank because you still have to do step 4, 5, and 6 then. But you don't. You're done. As I said, you're in step 7, and so you should be building wealth and giving some of it away, but certainly spending some of it and having fun family time. All right. Ramsey Show after show tomorrow, 11 a.m. That would be, what is it? The August the 15th in the year of our Lord 2025. That's promoted. Let's take a look at what things we'll be talking about. Paying off my student loans versus saving. Okay. Well, the idea. So if you're still going to school, you would not pay off the student loans to take out more student loans. So you would just let the student loans sit, in deferred status, or pay just minimums on them while you used any extra money to save up to cash flow the rest of your college. So, but this would not be general saving, but we'll find out. We'll find out for sure if there's some dumbass stuff going on, of course. How long do people save for down payments? People are so dumb. You're so dumb. It's not a particular time. I mean, anything that has a bunch of different numbers in it, you can find an average in it, but that average has nothing to do with you. So the answer for this should be, it doesn't matter how long people, excuse me, need a little agua. It doesn't matter how long people save for down payments. That does not matter. What matters is how much you need to save for a down payment. And the different ways you would go about that. Like if you are a low cost of living salary person and you live in a high cost of living area, then you have to save for much longer. And fortunately, Mr. Ramsey will allow you to not invest 15% for up to 2 years while you save a higher down payment faster. And that is the hack. That is the only hack for being able to afford a house on a non-high cost of living salary when you want to live in a high cost of living house. That is the only way to do that. You put more down and get that mortgage down to the amount that you can afford on a 15-year fixed. And so I'm going to go ahead and guess if this person is trying to find a shortcut here. This person is thinking 30-year mortgage as well. And that's dumb. That is not the advice. Interest versus CG tax minimization. I don't know what any of this crap is. I don't know what the CG is, but trying to lessen taxes is often dumb. I mean, if it's within the law, fine, sure, take any loopholes you can or whatever, but to like put in so much effort to avoid a little bit of taxes, that could be still working against you. But like one way to do it is, guess what, is to do the Roth IRA. Then you don't have to pay taxes in retirement. Doesn't that sound great? And so that would minimize your tax. So I maybe wouldn't worry about it till then. I think at this point, when you're trying to minimize taxes, again, when you're filling out your taxes and trying to lower it that way, sure, take any legal deduction or anything you can like that that's legal. Absolutely, do that. You don't need to give the government any more money than they already get. But if this is some scheming and scamming bull crap, that's going to be a no. You need a budget month ahead versus emergency fund. No, you need to have the emergency fund, not month ahead. No, 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 no. And also 1 month ahead does not equal 3 to 6 months of expenses anyway. So you don't, but we'll find out exactly what their deal is, maybe, unless I don't want to read it. Paid off the house, good, very poor, gave my mom and I in cars. Last week I paid off my mortgage, great. How divide large sum? Okay. Some people that are not from English-speaking countries do right on here, and also some dumbasses that don't know the English language that should know the English language also post on here as well. How divide large sum? How to spend it. Okay, all right, we'll find out, and maybe they'll say whether they are from out of town or not with such speech as that. Allowances for kids. All right, we'll see what's behind that as well. Alrighty, let's take a look at my plugs, and we'll see when the upcoming streams are this coming weekend. And tomorrow is Friday. There's an after show. Let's do it the right way. We go to plugs and we click on the hide it button, and then we add it back in. And you can schedule a free financial coaching consultation / assessment with me if you are having money problems or you just want to make sure you're on the right track. You can do that by emailing coachstevemoney@gmail.com. Anything else about my YouTube channel, you can also use the same email address. Donations, paypal.me/coachstevemoney, also CashApp $coachstevemoney, or a Walmart gift card to that same email address, coachstevemoney@gmail.com. Some upcoming streams, and I didn't capitalize it yet, need to. Subject to change. Work schedule does change a lot. I also add shifts. We're getting that overtime. Ramsey show after show, 11:05 a.m. Eastern time. I did one August 11th on Monday. I did one Wednesday, August 13th. And Monday, August 18th. I guess I wasn't planning on doing the one tomorrow, but now at this point I am planning on doing one tomorrow, and so one tomorrow and Monday. Question streams 8 p.m. Eastern. Thursday, August 14th. That's the one I'm doing now. Saturday, August 16th, and Sunday, August 17th. Okay. And so hopefully, if I remember, I will add the ones for next week, which I did not do yet. Alrighty, thanks so much for watching. Please subscribe, like, and comment. As always, make smart, don't be a dumbass. Make smart financial decisions every day.